Good morning, everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend. Extended bank holiday yesterday for Martin Luther King Day. Of course, we also had Trump being sworn into office. Lots of movers and potential news happening in the market right now. Nothing scheduled for today in terms of financial data, but day one of having Trump in, it could get volatile. Anyone who watched last night, he signed so many new orders, and it really moved the market. That big flush that we had was really a move off, I think it was China and Canada being told they were going to have to pay more on the tariff. So anyway, let's get into the charts and go from there. All right, let's stick to technicals and we'll go from there. Last night, flush down into what? RBS. Resistance becomes support. Resistance. Breaks out, retest, RBS, support, soaking now above this trend line. So that daily level, that 5-day, absolutely key. This 5-day is very close. One more day of this to crossing the 20-day. Then we can say we're a potential trend for reversion where back up to top Bollinger Band, which is now pointing upwards. So that is what the market looks like it wants to do from a daily point, unless we have a big failure. What I would say is there is notable supply right here. It's going to let me put this in. What is that? Let's draw that again, shall we? Notable supply here. All right, so we have to be careful. We don't really want to be buyers into areas where we know supply is. Like we know, we like to buy on dips and pullbacks into key areas. Unfortunately, that happened last night. So I did catch a piece of it last night before I went to bed, small piece of it. But really for here, I would be looking at how do we act here? Can we build out more liquidity and then go for the next leg up? If we steal the liquidity and fail underneath, then a trade back downside. Obviously, the gap up today is fairly significant. Going into the higher time frames, down one order into an hourly chart. I want you to pay attention to this hourly chart right here. You will see last night that dip in the Asia session right here, a big dip, huge flush. We flushed from 740 all the way down to 380s. It happened in a number of minutes. Where did we flush down to? Old point of control, volume, breakout. We never retested this blue box where we broke out from, flush down, absorb, and then we're trading back upside. So if we think about this in a pattern, all right, very simple. We've done this. There's your trap underneath. Retesting this area. We now have liquidity, head. All right, head, left, right. So there is potential for momentum upside today. We're definitely in that momentum upside. Watching the hourly, we can pay close attention to this volume that's been built overnight. This level in here around just under 700. A break of that, you have everyone stops down here at 645. That was this move here, okay? First push, second push, retest of this. Can it get up here? If it starts to fail under here, I'm either looking for trap lows under here or I'm looking for rejection and return lower. It will be a fairly tricky day today, I would say, with no news on the book and very large range. Moving into the 5 minutes, you can see a bit more detail in that Asia flush. Right, so we built up this liquidity. Where's my mouse gone? This liquidity here in the Monday session. And we started failing and rolling over, snapping down, under view up, came and searched. 20-day, 5-day got tagged. Where did we tag into? Remember, we talked about breakout retest point. This is where buyers bid up for that move. We can see that's an accelerated move by these candles, these engulfing candles, and we've come back and retested that area. Now we know buyers are down there because we accelerated away from and we've come back and held. So buyers are absolutely in control here. The bigger problem right now is you are trading in supply, aren't you? We know this is a supply zone because we've been up here. We've been up here and we moved away from it. And if we move back as well, all the way over here, we know this is a zone all the way through here as well. All right, so if we were to pull this whole pullback zone over, it's rather large, you would see that every time we come up, we've been rejecting, but this is 1, 2, 3rd time. So it's possible if we build enough liquidity today that we do this kind of move. If you don't want to play this liquidity build, you can wait for a move outside a pullback in, see if that holds for that move. If we fail to break out and we start getting stuck underneath, watch out below, because we might want to come and test at least London, if not Asia. So I'm bullish on the session. I want to see how pullbacks operate today and then make decisions off those key levels once I've seen how they're starting to operate. I'm going to just take this off because I've got intraday demand, intraday supply I'm looking at. And then into the lower time frame, right? Lower time frame with a tag into that supply we just talked about. So you can see from here, same thing. Big flush down, reclaim the higher time frame algo. Higher time frame algo is below the lower time frame algo and the momentum, the deep pullback. So this is a trend up scenario, especially once we got to here last night. This was clear trend up from 600 upwards, right? Nice flag, go, retest, again, breakout, retest, go. And now we're seeing, can it build liquidity or does it need to sweep some first? Those are the questions I'm posing into the opening print. Remember, your ATR is likely to be absolutely ginormous, right? But overall structure saying bullish, right? The daily structure, if we can go and take out that pivot of 900, we really actually move all structures to the upside. But right now, we look very, very bullish in this session. The question is, does it need to offer dips to be absorbed? A quick look at the VIX, right? VIX trading inside right now. Inside its old demand level. It's got a pivot low of 1550. It can trade up to basically 16 today and still be in chop. If it gets through 16, then possibly accelerates up to 1630. But really, effectively, 1630 to 1550 is your range. So there's a tightening of a range down there. I'm going to be watching that carefully if it starts to break out either side of that range that it started to create since Wednesday last week, really, I would say. Wednesday last week is when it's been in that range. So I'm just putting it in a grey box there. ES looking exactly the same. All right, ES breaking out to the upside, right, tagging back into its supply zone that we created on Monday, really, on the 20th. We did that drive up, fail back inside, drive back up, fail all the way down, retesting those areas. So coming to third and fourth time up here. Let's look at the Mag 7 quickly because there is a big difference in the Mag 7 today. Apple remains weak. We've talked about this for a few weeks now. Another downgrade, I think it was from Jefferies this time. Or this is all about the iPhone sales, diminishing iPhone sales, lack of new products. So Apple gapping down in the session today. Microsoft, a slight gap up, but holding the range that it created Friday. So can it hold really 430s is key on Microsoft. Amazon, again, we talk about it the last few weeks, remains strong. Relative strength in Amazon, gapping up, looking extremely strong to the upside. Google doing the same, gapping up, looking strong. Meta, pretty much flat, slight gap up, but again, at key levels from Friday. Nvidia, nice gap up here, trying to hold the top of this inverted head and shoulder. So Nvidia will be looking for a run into 140. How it acts there will be key. And Tesla, let's have a look here. Slight gap up from Friday's close, but still just trading inside Friday's range. So a little bit of divergence, but Apple definitely the weak one here. If we look at Bitcoin, it went on an absolute tear, hitting new all-time highs all the way up to 109s. Had a pullback overnight and is starting to retrace to the upside, probably going for a 105 test shortly. So most of the market looking extremely bullish this morning. All right, most of the market, Apple extremely weak. The question we're going to pose is, does this market need to roll over a little bit first? All right, are we going to come and search for some of the liquidity, maybe down to previous day close, maybe just into this wick at 44? These will be the levels I'm going to look at. I'm actually going to take some of these signatures off just for a second, just so I can see a little bit clearer into this day. We can put them back on a little bit later. It just cleans that chart up a little bit without all the white writing. Hopefully most of you have been here long enough to know. So momentum clouds, deep pullback clouds, lower time frame algo, VWAP, previous day high, previous day close, higher time frame algo. So these are the levels I'm watching. Let's get through some good mornings. We've got about 10 seconds, 15 seconds left. Morning Crawford, morning Mindful Matters, Vidaman, Jeff, Chris, Miguel, Steve C, Thumper, Peter, Array, Idris, Leron, Marek. Good morning, everyone. Let's close this poll before we open, see what everyone was voting for. Most of you bullish on the session by the looks of it. So just under a minute left until we get into this. Make sure my chart's looking good. Having a quick look at liquidity on the book. Right, there is a small seller, 41 lot up at 750. Above that, there's a 69 lot all the way up at 800, and there's nothing above him notable. To the downside, the biggest lot on the book right now is a 100 lot sitting at 21,400. That's very, very low, isn't it? That would take us all the way back down, near enough to that Asia low. So that would take us underneath the 20-day moving average, almost to the 5-day moving average. That would be a big flush. I'm not opposed to the market doing that today, but what I am expecting is the unexpected. I said it to my Discord group. I do not know how this market is going to react. All right, we can look at that overnight range is absolutely monstrous. Be very, very careful with your range. I'm just really want to get to the end of the month and see how this market wants to operate, and we can go from there. So 54% of you bullish, 36% of you expecting chop, only 9% of you think we're bearish in the session. Idris asking, did anyone here trade last night? I did trade last night, just a small piece. I'm up about, let's have a look, about $1,600. Just a small piece last night. I caught a little bit of this and a little bit of this, but I didn't hold positions. Just didn't like the amount of volatility, even though volatility is fantastic to trade with sometimes. I just wanted to be able to sleep easy, if that makes sense. Did any of you catch it though? Did any of you grab those longs off the lows, or were any of you short in that move? Having a look at the market then. Apple opening with a 3% gap down, all right, to give you an idea. Tesla 0.5% down, everything else up, all right? Nvidia 1.1% up, Meta 1% up, Google 2.6% up, Amazon 1.5% up, Microsoft dancing around its red to green price right now. Apple extremely weak. Yeah, last night was absolutely nuts. With him signing all those orders, and it was reactions from the market. This is what it's going to be like for the next few weeks while he puts all these executive orders in place. Obviously, he passed a lot of emergency bills yesterday, but the key thing will be how he acts on some of these tariffs as well. So you have to be prepared for that, because they can literally come out the blue today. You know, he might just hit the wire saying we've changed this order, or we're doing this, or we're imposing this tariff on this person, or we've agreed a deal with Zelensky, or you just don't know, right? And those unknowns can make it a little bit dangerous, which is why I'm constantly preaching use hard stops. You have to use hard stops. Coming back down towards that previous day high here, this London high, we're trading through it. Are we going to come all the way down to view up and this pivot point down here and see how we act? That's what I'm watching for right now. I'm just going to wait this morning. I'm going to be very, very patient. From a technical standpoint, I like the buys. From a momentum standpoint, I like the buys. But from a positional standpoint, looking at where we are, I don't want to be buying up here. All right, so any dips that hold, I'm good with. If we start to fail and get stuck, I'm going to play shorts back down on rotations. Morning, Ramus. Right, bear with me. I'm just going to turn my heating off because it's getting very hot under these lights with. It was very cold in California last night, and the winds picked up. There was another fire started last night, but nowhere near me. So hold of that lower time frame, algo, and is that Friday close? What is that? Friday high of day right here. That's what it's looking to hold so far and find a bid off. Still very early in this session. Let's move this to a 2 minute. Oh, it is on a 2 minute. Okay. Is there an issue with chat? I can only see a few posts and a lot of white space. I don't have any issue. I can see everyone posting. So it was UTR, and then above you, Ramos, and then Nightbot and Idris. So I think it seems okay from what I can see. Yeah, Marek saying all good. Yeah, I think it's fine. So just a small range here so far, opening 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes. You can think about that opening range break on the 5-minute bar if you want to. Where are your draws of liquidity? Remember, I think market wants to come and take out those old highs potentially all the way up to 900. But how do we get there? That's the biggest question right now. How do we get there? Do we need to search deeper, pick up some better value buys, trap some intraday shorts in before we get there? No trades for me yet. Just going to let this settle down this morning. Treating this like an opening range on the week, to be quite honest. All right, so we had a bit of a weird day yesterday with a president get sworn in and a bank holiday. So just going to let this settle down. If this really wants to start squeezing, I can think about it. But I'd way, way rather we come and retest some better value down here. Watching the market carefully as well. Apple continues to be weak. Not a huge amount of orders on the book either. Obviously, if you were trading last night and you were bullish, you made a lot of money. If you were in a short position on the inauguration, looking for that wash back down into daily and hourly levels, you probably got a huge cover point down there into that sort of sub 400 move. So after such big range, it's very, very possible that we need to build out lots of liquidity here. Did any of you catch the longs or that big short, that huge quick short on that hourly bar yesterday, 7 o'clock Eastern time? Did any of you get that short back all the way down into the hourly levels or the longs back up? I'm interested. That short back down was really, really fast. Look how quickly it moved once it failed to break above, snap underneath all the way down, and didn't just test one level, tested all the way down to this level down here. All the way down to old POCs. So even today I'm watching, how do we trade into sort of 613s, somewhere around that on the hourly bars if we're going to do it. Really interested in trades after 10 o'clock today. I think those might be the easier moves. Or at least 9:45 for you guys. 9:45, 10 o'clock. Trading back down towards VWAP here. Will this be a value buy down here? Or do they feel the need to wash it lower? ES again getting stuck at supply. It's considerably more extended from VWAP right now. QQQ trading under VWAP, coming back into some key levels from Friday. And there's VWAP. I'm trading through VWAP. Volume starting to increase here. Look at your ATR starting to go upside. Watching the book here. How much of this move do they want to give back? Maybe all of it. Taking out this pivot low here, very possible if it wants to search for that pivot low. And then we've got some daily levels underneath. There goes pivot low. So these are areas I'm more interested in. What scares me is the momentum coming into the market to do this. So are we about to go like full on risk off real quick? Thinking about very, very carefully watching how we move here. ATR really starting to accelerate now. Coming into the hourly levels we were talking about, old point of control down here. Watching the London low would be a sweep of 585-ish. I'm watching to see how ES does here. Does NQ go on a little run to reclaim VWAP? Or are we just going to do a huge puke out? Starting to roll over on the flow zones. I'm going to move this down to 1 minute for you, It's starting to accelerate quickly. If we start to reclaim VWAP, I'll be watching very, very closely. ES nowhere near its VWAP yet. QQQ coming into a key level from Friday. Can drift a little bit lower. SPY the same. So old highs from Friday here. If it really starts to let go of this, you would have... Oh, why is that changed on my chart? There we go. SPY has more room to trade lower if it wants. It's trading through its VWAP now. QQQ into Friday's range. A little bit lower for point of control, at the old point of control into around 616. That is obviously the pullback level that we did overnight as well, the breakout retest level right here. All right, if you think about this as a flag, pullback zone 1, retest and go. So do buyers step up here? If they don't, then we're just going to search for liquidity lower. It's really that simple. Remember, big pump up overnight. That was a big, big pump up. This is already a rather large move off the open. Coming down into previous day close now. Not in any of this short. Might be kicking myself here. Just straight liquidation. There's PDC. And previous day low. Way, way lower. All the way down here. Watching bids. No real bids on the tape here. Again, the biggest bid on the tape, like I said, is 400. Way, way, way far away. Another 200 points lower. So this is just in the melt. As ES comes close to previous day high, VWAP trading up towards previous day high on the ES. The spiders and the Qs are well beneath their VWAPs right now. NQ well beneath its VWAP. But ES has a chance for a trade into PDH and VWAP here. So I'm just watching that to see if they start to cover early. Into the higher time frame algo kind of zone. There's 600-ish area, this old point of control. Old point of control. And that pullback that we did last night into and around midnight. So that's where we are right now. It's going to break lower. We're going to now attack these London lows. What a big move. That happened very quick. So 580s is sort of London lows. Through that, you've got that move all the way down to Asia. Do they start to protect this? Here's the bounce off previous day high. I'm watching this now to see if we're going to return all the way up here, possibly for a counter trend trade, because it will offer me good RR all the way up towards VWAP 650s if we can get there. If they turn the squeeze on, then I'll hold runners for a move even higher. If this is just a bounce to fade, then they should just come in very, very quickly. So I'm just watching here if we can return into this sort of block into 35s up to VWAP. ES didn't quite hit previous day high. Still has room downside for a bigger bounce. I'm just watching this very, very carefully here. The first bounce fade. Do they get a break lower here for that move into previous day high and VWAP on the ES, or do they force shorts to start covering here? Just watching overnight levels. We didn't sweep London yet either. Apple very, very heavy. Tesla now 3.6% down as well. So watching to see if bids come in on any of these. Those start to bottom out, we might get a little bit of a trade back upside. Crawford, no, I'm not long yet. I'm watching and thinking about initiating very shortly if we're going to start to put a squeeze on. Now I'm just very, very small. Just entered here, looking for that break above. Right, selling some into that because I'm counter trend. Being proactive, looking for them. See if we can squeeze through VWAP. If we go through VWAP, I'm going to see if we can squeeze all the way up to 80s. If we can't get through VWAP, I'll just cover here. So watching, this is just counter trend, very small, started entering here, took it off. Remember, we've got levels down here we can sweep. So it's very, very counter trend. The pro trend would be from here downwards. But because that range was big enough, it offered me a trade back into this level. I'm out now. Not proving that it wants to squeeze. So probable to do next leg down because I'm watching higher time frame charts right here. Probable it wants to come and sweep these levels. If we break beneath these and stay heavy, we have a huge, huge trade all the way down into these levels. All right, if we break beneath these and stay heavy, we can trade down. If we break beneath these and reclaim, we can trade up. And really, it's ES that's making me think more about the longs right now. Nothing else, really. But right now, I'm flat. That was a very, very small trade. Would much rather the Qs come and take out that low, really, around 80 first before doing anything else. Make life a little bit easier to have a better bias on what next. And just flat now. I really like NQ to just break beneath that London low, sweep that and turn upside. That red line, sweep that and turn upside. That'd be a nice trade for shorts to come in and get stuck under there. If it fails to do that, or if it stays heavy versus that London low, then we can go and attack that overnight low. Look at the strength of ES. This is what was making me think about getting long. Water bottle, got bubbles in it. So ES back to supply it created this morning. Can it trigger a squeeze here for a move through those tops through 68s, or does it get stuck here? Apple just so heavy, man. Almost 4% down on the day now. No one interested in that stock right now. Still very early in the session. Just look at the hourly where we are. Trading into old value, area low, old point of control. If we find bids here, we can trade back through VWAP. If we trade back through VWAP and get through low zones, we can trade back to high of day. So I'm watching these areas carefully of how we react. This is starting to look a little bit better now for potential squeeze. So starting to get involved in this back to the upside. Counter trend, smaller size, aggressive with stops. Very, very simple. Needs to squeeze straight through VWAP here for me to hold on. Partials off there. Can always re-add in if it starts to firm up. All right, partials off as we trade into flow zones. You don't want to be holding too long. ES looking really good for the breakout. This was the main reason for this thesis, is just how well ES was holding. Can we get all dips to hold here? The trouble is on the Qs versus ES, we have relative weakness. ES is the easier one to long. Relative weakness is coming from Apple and Tesla, right? They're much heavier weighted in the Qs than they are in the ES. The ES trying to break out. If ES can successfully break through 70, it should be able to attack 78. Looking really good here now. Should be runners only until it starts to prove itself. Possible rotation back up to previous day high. Right, then partials out from here into previous day high. And then if it starts to hold bids, we would need to see a continuation set up. So some form of flag or, oh, come on, something here maybe for that continuation. Like I said at the beginning, I wasn't really interested in shorts today. I was thinking about those dips. I know it's counter trend on the M1, all right, but on higher time frames, it makes sense for these trades. So it's a little bit early to be taking them, yes, but we waited for it to give us volume and signals to trade upside. There we go. Big old squeeze out now. So shorts trap there. ES breaking through highs. It should really go and try and attack 78 now. So congratulations if you took that with me. All right, just make sure you're paying yourself. It doesn't look like a lot, but these moves are rather large. Make sure you're paying yourself. Need to see if dips hold now. All right. Because ES is now cleared out. If the sellers want to come back in ES and trade for an inside move, it can do that now. So need to be really, really cautious. Like I said, make sure you pay yourself. Here's ES trading back inside now. So sweat liquidity, trading back inside. Didn't base above 70. Now trading all the way back at 66. Still has another chance to go higher, but we're just trading what is in front of us. And we get a new squeeze here, looking to initiate a bull flag here for a squeeze back to previous day high. Would need to see ES really break out with conviction to do that, but we are holding VWAP. You have to watch your size here. We're currently trading at 35 ATR. Yeah, divergence is crazy. It's just because of, look at Apple and look at Tesla. That's where the main divergences come from. I'm guessing the banking sector is looking pretty strong again. In fact, we can have a quick look at the sectors. Let's have a quick look. Pull these over on FinViz for you all. Come on, computer. There we go. So, can you guys see that? Maybe I've got to move it this way. These are the sectors. Look at Apple. So weak. Tesla weak. Microsoft flat. Energy down a bit. Everything else looking very, very green. Remember, we were gapping up across, but Apple holding the Qs down. Right? Apple heavily, heavily weighted in the Qs. Apple, if they start to find a bid on Apple, and maybe it can have that move upside, or at least a base out. Still potentially building this flag out here. You need to see it really move through previous day high. Remember, this is supply up here, intraday supply up here where we started breaking down from. If it can move through that, it has a chance to squeeze out on the day and really get going. ES keeps failing up here and trading back inside. We're going to build up more liquidity on the Qs. VIX trading breaking down actually. VIX starting to try and break down and attack previous day low. Very bullish on the market if it can do that. And stay with sustained sell pressure underneath previous day low. Almost a new hourly bar, another 7 minutes or so for a new hourly bar. Can we hold some sort of bullish structure here inside the morning range for the rotation? So they're already talking about tariffs on oil and gas. See that hit the news wire. Remember, structure-wise, this is where buyers came in. All right, so do we hold this for the next leg up, or do we let go of this like that and they get trapped for the move down? Like I said, you have to be careful in this market. It's so violent so quickly. These moves are ginormous. So sell pressure, we said this was counter trend. Sell pressure came in flow zones. Now they were going to go and attack, I would imagine, that London low that we said. Much better trade if they sweep out of 583s or so. They can sweep lower first and then trade back inside. Then I'll know at least one level of liquidity is gone. So quick. The spikes on these, that might have been from that tariff I just read out. That's a 75+ point candle. Yeah, so I cannot say this enough. This is what it's going to be like for a while until we get through how these tariffs are going to affect the economy. Tapping into London low there. All right here, tapping into that London low, that red line at the top of your chart. ES back to previous day high and VWAP now. Do they find bids at previous day high and VWAP after sweeping London low? Or are we going to go into massive sell pressure type scenario? Idris, this is nuts. Yeah, I mean, these are anomalies, aren't they? That how many times do you get a new president come in and change as many things as we have now? Very, very rare. All right, so there is the tag. So I am counter trend long here just for a little squeeze. Grabbed it as soon as we put that wick in. I've grabbed this for this move up. Very small size, protecting profits. Because now we've swept the London low that we were talking about. That London low. Right here, we've swept this London low. Can we trade it inside? I'm trimming profits into 600s. ES held previous day high. Beautiful move. Pay myself a bit more. Like I said, I feel much better about this move. Squeeze upside after we take London out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So can we get all the way back up to VWAP? I'll take some more profit there. Paid myself most of this move already. I'm very, very quick on the trigger today. When I'm in the money, I'm going to pay myself until it proves otherwise. I know it's counter trend, but thesis-wise on the higher time frame, that makes sense. Looking at the hourly charts, all we're doing is trading into those blocks right now. Right here. If we start to let go of this, I'll think about that short trade. All right. If we start to let go of these kind of areas here, where we've had buyers and buyers and buyers, and we start to put in a lower high here and a lower low, I'll think about the bigger short trade. But right now, I'm thinking that shorts are likely to chase at some point and get stuck. I know on this session, we've been in a bearish move. So that's why I'm being very, very careful and paying myself fast. Huge move on ES. That was massive off the previous day high. 10-point ripper on the ES already. New hourly candle coming in 3 minutes. I'm out the trade now, guys. Took the rest off, paid myself some money. Just in a range on most of these markets right now. Looking at the overnight range, the London range, we're inside it. We did sweep the London low. That was the key for me. If we're going to start pumping upside after taking that, then I think we can take out some highs. But we're going to need to see some type of relief bounce on Tesla and Apple, which is not coming, which is why when I'm taking these counter trend trades, I'm very, very quick. Because if this wants to bleed out and start to test the bottom side of the range, then it's going to go all the way down and test 550s, 460s, and obviously that overnight low. Where's that down at 370s? Like, it's a long way down. It's a long way down. And as you've seen, it doesn't mind putting in 75-point kill candles. They activate. Got to be careful with your sizing. Mustn't be adding into each move. You've got to have your stop. You can stop out. You can always get back in. Just remember that. Don't need to hold on if it's going against you. Just take it off. Take the trade back on when it sets up for you. Rather than go through all that drawdown, just take a small hit and just wait. TR, not seeing chat again. Is anyone else having that problem? I can see all the chat. I can see all the chat. Just remember your counter trend. Activate your counter trend on the longs. You're in a good location, but momentum is against you. And technically, until we start pivoting up here, you're counter trend. I was in the longs as well, like here. and I grabbed as soon as we turned this for this move up. But just be cautious. Understand what type of trade you're in right now. You have to pay yourself a little bit of money. They can very, very easily come in here and do one leg, two leg, and down. Especially with the weakness in the Qs. SPY tapping into its VWAP here. All right, so the ETF VWAP is right here. Did a lesson on VWAPs at the lesson for free on YouTube over the weekend. So if you haven't seen that, go and watch that. It'll help you out. Everyone else can see the chat, so I'm not sure what's going on for you there, TR. So here's the squeeze. They're trying to trade back into VWAP here. Watching the book, it's pretty thin. But again, still got that big buy order down at 400. That's the only thing. SPY letting back go of VWAP. So trading in that range, like I said, I can't remember who was just saying they were long. You have to be very, very cautious. Your counter trend. This is the plays today so far. All right, so I was counter trend long to see if I'd get a squeeze. It's not gone for me. I've made money on each of these because I'm being proactive. But the trend direction right now in the New York session is lower. But we are into areas of potential demand down here. Tyson, good work. Lovely work. Those that didn't see it, I pinned it to the top. I did do a flash sale using code Trump. Get the course in the Discord and my indicators, $100 off. Code Trump. It was supposed to end last night. I've just extended it until midnight tonight. So any of you in this room right now who are interested in joining the community, doing the 20-hour course, getting the flow zones, having the Discord, it's got a $100 discount voucher using code Trump at the checkout. Just hit that link pinned in chat. It's all caps as well for that code. All caps. Again, just in a range here, 145-point range, new hourly candle here. I'm watching to see what this hourly candle does. Does it want to sweep the lows of the last hour and turn inside, or are we about to have a meltdown moment? I'm really not, I don't have huge bias. I said it to my team last night. Expect the unexpected. I'm going to be very, very quick and very, very nimble, really, until we get to February. I really want to see like how this market reacts to each tweet he says, each post that he does. If you can remember back to his last presidency, every single tweet would move the market. All right, so I've got alerts set to his Twitter now. POTUS and Trump. So you just have to be a little bit aware. Once I feel comfortable with the kind of range that we get on things that he says and does, once we get into a more conventional market where he's put, you know, most of the orders in place, then it will calm down. But right now, we're not even 24 hours into his presidential reign. So lots of moves can happen quickly here. You deleted your X account. You might need it for work, mate. It doesn't need to be for social, but you might need it for work. It can come in very useful. I don't really follow many people. I don't really care what many people say, but I do care about news headlines when they hit the wire, and X can be very useful for that. Stay out of all the gossip and the he said, she said, or political opinions. I really don't care about the opinions. All I care about is what policies are going in place and how they affect the market. That's what I use X for. Yes, not really tagged its previous day high and VWAP here. It's come very, very close a few times for the last 15 minutes, but not quite got there. I wonder if it needs to do one little nudge lower and scoop them up. Remember, trend on this session is to the downside. Trend overall, I would argue, on the hourly is, well, on the hourly, it's starting to build out a range, to be quite honest. It's going to look uglier and uglier and uglier the more we hang around here as it starts to build liquidity to be used. So we're in a liquidity building phase of the market. You can see it right here. Lower time frame conditions are bearish. All right, so the easier moves today technically were sells. I know I was looking for counter trend longs, were sells. We're going to build liquidity between here and here. All right, that's where it's trying to build between higher time frame and lower time frame algo. I've taken the writing off just because it started to get in the way when they get all tight. I can put the tags on if you need, so you know what each of these are shortly. Just let me know in chat if you need them. Most of you probably know what these are by now. So watching to see if we're going to break this hourly low and how far we're going to trade down. Watching ES into previous day high and VWAP. Right at London low here. If we let go of London low, there is liquidity maybe towards 520, and then obviously that overnight low, which is very far, very, very far down. I don't think we revisit that today, but could be wrong. Would be a wild move if we give that whole thing back. So Tesla almost 4% down on the session now. Structure-wise, still saying lower. I'm just very aware of potential squeeze up if and when the relief comes. ES again bouncing in front of VWAP and previous day high. Didn't quite make it. Love to see it trade into those levels and then see what's what. Book's fairly thin, honestly, not much on the book. 100 lot down at 400. 69 lot. What a number. Up at 850. Not a whole lot else. Yeah, and also the previous day high, Miguel. I'm watching that previous day high on ES. See how it acts as it trades into this, but I would say 650 as well, whole number, somewhere around there. Do we find buyers come in the tape? Otherwise, they might let it go 10 points all the way, or 5 points all the way down to pivot at 45. But so far, they keep absorbing here, but it is a bit of a battle. As the market's starting to go sideways, you're starting to see some tapering. Once you see tapering sideways, if they don't let it go, this is where squeezes happen. Right, so we go from bigger moves to smaller moves to smaller moves. Right, if they don't get a breakdown, shorts get trapped, and then you get the squeeze rotations. So far, still making lower lows and lower highs, but we are starting to condense quite a lot in this kind of zone here. So the squeezes can be triggered outside of these. You can always steal liquidity and fade it very, very hard back down. Here goes ES again, having another go. So are they going to trigger a squeeze here? It's coming back up to test the top of that range. I'm watching carefully. If they're going to squeeze here, I'm going to join. Small size in, just in case. Very aggressive my stop. Stop already in the money. Here goes the squeeze. Beautiful. So this is what we're talking about. As the tapering starts, shorts can get stuck. Now I'm trimming some into the top of this side of the range. And if we start to break and hold, I can think about adding. Looking beautiful here. Trimming some more as we trade back towards VWAP and the top side of this range. Remember, if they steal this liquidity and dunk it, then I'm going to be hands off. Trade through 36 is key. So this is why I trimmed a lot of my position into this move. You can see the stops are here. So this is what I'd be scared about. If they can base here and base here, then we get a bigger squeeze. But again, the tapering started here. They were all starting to get stuck here. If they don't let shorts out, they'll get a relief rally higher now. If they let shorts out, this will just be the build of a bear flag, steal some liquidity, and roll over. All right, so you can see why I paid myself. Counter trends, I'm very, very quick to pay myself money. You'd really need to see 607s, that kind of level there, 605s, hold here. If it doesn't hold, then I think we just trade lower. Up very nice money on the day now. Just scalping this out. Counter trend longs this morning for me. Not the easier trade on the session, I know. Not the easier trade. Maybe we melt here. I'm just looking for those early entries with low risk where I think we can get potential moves. That's why I've been playing the counter trend long. I'm just looking for early entries. I'm looking for signals where maybe Apple can find a bid, maybe Tesla can find a bid, but there's nothing yet, which is why I'm so aggressive. Every time I'm in the money, my stop's moving up. Not hanging around here because I know I'm counter trend. They want to go and dunk this for ES move to previous day high. And a meltdown. Oh, and a meltdown here lower. Like I said, if they want to bear flag this and melt it lower, they can do. And that's fine with me. I'm out now. Like I said, if it can't hold this, not interested. Lots of liquidity here. Internal to aim for. If it gets very, very heavy, 520s is doable. Looking at those lower prices. Have a look from that overnight low to current day high as well. Fibbing out the pullbacks as well to see how low we can go. Yeah, it looks like it wants to get a little heavier here. So again, I was early to it, which is why I'm so aggressive when I'm doing those. Yeah, Kathy. Yeah, I would agree. There you go. So they got stuck again, looking for that rotation higher and squeeze. Didn't come. And they probably got a bit greedy. Here is ES through previous day high, through VWAP. They're getting heavy now. All those people trying to buy it, just like me, but not paying themselves in trouble. Where can we trade down to here? That's the question. Old block here and retest into 60s, I'd say. Watching these hourly levels. All right, if we melt here, then we can trade all the way down. I'd say 470 would be key. And obviously that overnight low. But this is getting very, very heavy, very, very quick. Apple getting absolutely destroyed now. Nvidia going red now. Meta going red now. Microsoft going red now. They are selling tech now. Starting to rotate lower. If you remember to a few weeks ago, I did say, I wonder if we're going to have a sell the news event. But because we soaked last night, I was less convinced. But we're starting to really get very, very heavy now. Yes, finding a little bit of a bid here. I'm trying to see what levels we're playing off here now. QQQ into sort of that Friday morning where we dropped Friday morning and found bids. We're starting to trade into that sort of area of consolidation. Just looking left here, trying to see if and where we're going to play off. And if we're going to get really aggressive here. $500, not far away. Remember, the biggest order on the book all morning has been all the way down at 400. ES taking that low out from this morning. So London low on ES taken. Order at 500 on the book now. 100 lot at 500 now. So let's see if they want to fill him or if they're just going to protect him. Oh, chart. Sorry. Thanks, Tyson. What is this? Trading to that Thursday high, underneath Thursday high. I'm just looking for levels of if and where cover points will be, and if those levels snap, where I think we can trade down to the next level. It definitely feels extremely heavy here, doesn't it? When I said buyers are at 500, there's 100 lot at 500, and beneath that, there's 100 lot at 400. No relief yet on this flush moment. No bounce yet in terms of a fib. The pro trend has been down in this session, like I said. You're starting to move to pro trend down. If these really start to get beneath this high time frame algo and the lower time frame picks up, that's going to be very, very heavy for the market. If we trade back in here, we can chop for a while. Between this zone is a little bit choppy. Do they retrace like 50% here for them to sell into for a new leg? Yes, did take that low, reclaiming VWAP. I'm watching this carefully here to see if this is a potential bigger trigger here. ES through previous day high now, through VWAP now, all after sweeping that low, that London low. From a technical standpoint, you are still bearish here. I'm just thinking about where we can aim for liquidity-wise. There is low-hanging fruit, I'd say, at 518 right now. If you're looking for that continuation short, you have to let this pop and melt. Yes, definitely is the one that would worry me here. Range is very big. So you can wait for something like this and then come and attack it if you're looking for the short. I wouldn't keep guessing on this move up here. Or wait for a bear flag or something simple like that. But remember, ES has swept the key level. Like I said, if we trade back through higher time frame algo, this zone here can get a little bit squeezy and a little bit choppy. So ES trading all the way back up to its failure point here, 56s. You would have to watch this if you're trading ES to see if they refresh sell this. If they don't, if there's no sellers here, watch out. But in theory, I would say now low-hanging fruit, if we can shift to a sell, regain sell would be into 520s. If we can't do that, again, like I said, through into this area, you get a little bit squeezed. You're going to have to be very, very careful. Wild market. Wild market. It's still short technically until you take out this pivot. And there's your pivot. Right? This is how we're trading this morning. High, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We expect a pullback after the break of structure. Do they come back in and sell this for a retest of here? Maybe take 20. If not, if they do this, we're going to initiate that kind of squeeze play. That's your channel. Very violent market is how I would describe this. It's violent. The moves are quick and fast. And with strength as well. ES just so strong after taking that pivot low out, that London low. If you're trading ES today, I'd say it's giving you some really nice trades. If you're just watching it in terms of supply and demand and structure, it's being very, very kind. So here's the trade into 600. How does it act here at 600? How does it act here in the fib? Do you start to get that rollover type move? That rollover, if you're looking at it, and it does offer it, it hasn't offered you anything yet. If it offers something, you're going to have to take partials here. This feels so squeezy right now into your golden pocket here. Like I said, don't guess on the way up. If you got short here and went add, you're already 60 points out of the money. Let it prove to you. Let it give you something to risk off. I'd be watching ES here as well on this pullback. If ES wants to hold VWAP and previous day high here, I would not be thinking about it any more shorts in this market right now. VIX continues to just chop in its range. It tried to extend outside, took previous day low. It's just hanging around there. Can you catch these moves quick on Top Step? Yeah, of course you can. You can catch them on anything. If you're talking about Top Step X, probably best setting up some hotkeys if you're looking to catch these. There's the squeeze. So a hold yet again. It's looking like it's just going to rip higher here, squeeze everyone out. Watching to see what they initiate here. Can they build liquidity around here for us to wait and then maybe join? Or are they going to do like a 100-point drop out of nowhere? Which is, who bloody knows, right? Who knows what's being signed right now? This is what I keep saying. You just don't know. The ATR in this is massive, massive, massive. So ES coming back towards its VWAP and previous day high. Does it soak there? That would be the question I would pose. Apple 3.6% down. Tesla 4.1% down. Microsoft gone red now. The rest holding up pretty good. This is a 1 minute here, I think, I believe. Are we on a 1 minute? Yeah, this is a 1 minute you're looking at right now. So watching to see, does ES soak off this VWAP and previous day high? If they soak off this, you might get an upside move. If they don't, we melt back down towards those lows we put in. Watching flow zones. Do we hold flow zones for the upside squeeze? Reclaim a 600 there. They melt this, they can melt all the way down to 550 real quick. Did that low hit that order you mentioned? No, it didn't. 500 still there on the tape. 500 and 400 still just dangling there on the tape. Thank you for reminding me. There, TR. Yeah, he's still on the tape at 500. He hasn't pulled his order either. He's still just sat there. I'm watching this now thinking we're going to get a little bit squeezy here. So just watching. ES is going to be key. They dunk it, it can come down real fast. So this is not easy for, I would say, like newer traders who like to trade nice and slow with trend. This is not easy, right? You've got high ATR. You have to be careful. And spread can open up pretty quick as well. When the spread opens up, there can often be the days where things like Tradeovate and Ninja struggle a little bit. I always find struggle to get the fills. You see it trade through you and not get a fill and stuff. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be a thing. and 610s. Can we get through this for that squeeze up towards 640? What's your ATR? Here we go. Can they offer this squeeze up here? ES holding that VWAP. What I'm thinking about is, are we going to do a move like this? And can we get above here and hold for then me to initiate a join? So I really want to see pivots above here and hold for this squeeze out. If it can't do that, again, your risk is a roll all the way down to fill this in. We went straight down, straight up. We can come straight back down again. So I'm waiting to see if they can build this out. Show me first, and then I can join, especially if flow zones start to support it. ES again holding VWAP there. Structure-wise, you can see what I'm looking at. All right. They're having another attempt at that flag and break like we keep talking about. Can they get it going for the move, and then we can join in once it proves itself? Starting to look a little bit better here. It really just needs to rip through 25s and through VWAP here. Tesla starting to find a little bit of a bottom. Trading off its lows now. It's not like it's bullish, but it's trading off its lows. Failing to break out here with volume. Need to see it squeeze. If it can't squeeze, can't play it. Big divergence as well in terms of positioning. All right, ES above VWAP. SPY below VWAP. QQQ below VWAP. NQ below VWAP. So ES is the one with relative strength in the New York session. It really wants to have a go here at squeezing out. It really wants to squeeze out. You can see it. It wants to make that breakout of the high, run the liquidity, and then we have to see if it can base. Failing that 25 again. Had another go there, didn't it? So 25, trade through 25, we get to 35, trade through that can open the door for a bigger move. But it is not doing it quickly. That's always a bit of a worry. One more attempt here. It's having one more attempt. Can it get going? Is this time the time it's going to do it? Reclaiming. Here we go. Beautiful. All right, so starting to play into this. Lovely. How high can we go now? Towards VWAP. Watching to see if we can take out 36. Remember, we want to see liquidity built and a base above, and that will be the continuation. What we don't want to see is this. All right, so I'm not playing long if we're going to fail to hold. So starting to flip these flow zones. It's a beautiful move. This is looking really good now. I want to see it take out this liquidity here into 37s. Activate. I keep saying you cannot just be adding and adding and adding into losing trades. You shouldn't be down 10K. If you're not having days where you're up 10K, you shouldn't be having days where you're down 10K. Take the trades off. You can always add back in, right? Just take small losses. Try and let the winners work for you. Sell orders here at 637 and 650. If we get through that, we open up a move. They're starting to stack above now. 50 lot at 700. Then again at 750. Then again into 775 and 800. Squeeze looking good here. Beautiful move. This is what we were looking for. Fantastic. There we go. Nice move from Tesla off the lows there, helping out the Qs with a bit of relief. Right, so now we would like to see an extension and a base. We know shorts, their stops on an average price will be around here. We want to see us hang above here, ideally above VWAP for a move into here and then up here. So again, going back to the H1 chart, what held this right here? Support, support, support again. Yesterday we extended through it as a very, very, very large move overnight with low liquidity. But we're holding this. So what can this potentially do? It can potentially do this and target upside, upside, upside. But we're going to have to sell into these levels here where we started failing from this morning. All right, we're going to respect liquidity above us. So VWAP tag there. Again, these levels here are going to be key. You need these shorts to remain stuck in the market. We trade higher when these short sellers are stuck and they are forced to cover. We trade lower if buyers join in and we get underneath and we build out and down to here. Thanks. So far, I'd say in a range rotation day, right? Initial balance now printing, right? So you got your initial balance high at the high of the day, initial balance low here, mid-range here, VWAP here. So far in a range. No trend confirmed until we're outside of that range. Yes, looking very, very good. Very, very good on ES. So now looking to see, like I said, these guys here have to become buyers. These become buyers, the continuation trade sets up. If they don't become buyers, the rotation trade sets up. VWAP, IB low. These are not very easy conditions right now, team. Cannot say it enough. ATR is spiking fast. Volatility is in the market. Headlines are moving the market. Activate. You've got to pay yourself. If you've been 10K down, you've got to pay yourself some money. Still looks good to me, but you have to pay yourself some money. Size down. Get your risk off the table. Beautiful. Holding. Buy signal. If we can flag here, next level. If we get through that, IB high. If we get through that, these levels. Yeah? We're building liquidity to search for liquidity. That's all we're ever doing in the market. Yeah, and that's one way to look at it. Activate. The other way to look at it is too much risk, no life. Yeah, no house, no wife, no car. All right, I haven't said it today yet. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button underneath on the chat. I haven't even checked how many of you tuned in today. So very good hold here. If they can flag this and go, you look good. Let's get those likes up, team. Let's get those likes up. Let's get them up. 50. We need 50 likes. Simple as that. Let's get to 50. So trying to retag into VWAP here. If they get through this, you are opening the door for that squeeze. Like I said, you need these guys in here to become buyers. It's starting to shape up like these guys can become buyers. We're going to flip the flow zones. If we hold this, then you should be looking for a move into, let's just call it 65, 75, and then all the way up here. If we start to fail under here, right, I'm not a buyer down here because the rotation becomes possible at that point. You are in an IB right now, so IB rules now apply on the session. There's no news scheduled for today, but I'm sure there will be lots of news coming out of the White House, so just be aware of that. You can size down, just scalp your way into money in these kind of markets until you get that beautiful trend or beautiful extension or rotation, whatever you're looking for, to pay you. I'm done for the day. I've made very nice money today. I don't need to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Leo, prop firms. I mainly trade prop firms, and then I swing or invest cash in ETFs. Let's see what Activate said. It's going down. Help. Well, I don't know your average price, but I know for sure you're oversized. For sure you're oversized. Andrew, I was actually looking for longs this morning. So I was looking for counter trend longs or counter trend to this move. So obviously the easier play was the sales off supply. I missed this move here into the open. Probably should have slapped this, but I didn't take this pullback. I actually took a long here and here for this move. And then I took a... Let's have a look on here, sorry. I started taking a little piece in this move once we got through here. And I'm out now. Now I'm just waiting. Especially once ES took the lows, London lows. Now I'm waiting, because if this needs to create, these guys here, these sellers here who are short here, short here, short here, short here, need to become buyers in the market. If they let them out and they don't become buyers in the market, we don't initiate this, then we use the liquidity this way. We can come and retest this. And underneath there, where was I looking? On the H1, there was a level. Underneath there, there's an Asia low, not the final Asia low, but there's a level right here, which we have put relative equal lows at, which I'm watching. Make sure that's on. So right here, around 520. So if we're going to get weak, I'm going to watch if the market wants to trade towards that 520. But so far today, we're in initial balance. Range isn't too big, 192 points. It's not crazy for the NQ. It's big, but it's not wild. But some of these kill candles have been very, very large. But yeah, you need to see this hold and build out liquidity. Maybe some form of trap underneath here for that move. Right, sweep of this, turn inside and go. Right, for that move. I would not want to see it get heavy here. This is a problem. Right, that's a fade move to here. I'd be covering this if you're going to take that short. Covering into here, holding runners for a break beneath the IBL. Then I'll be looking for runners into 520. If 520 starts to fail, obviously hold number 500. If 500 starts to fail, then really I'll be watching into the overnight lows. So the H1 candle bars exchanged at sort of around 470. And you got the extension of 100 points, right down to sort of 370. So there's a 100-point extension in that H1 bar. That will be thin liquidity down there. There's no liquidity built up there, really. Under 450, it gets thicker. But I would say between 550 and 450, it gets pretty thin. What's we got on volume on the session? Let's have a little look. So yeah, lots of volume building up in the area we are at now, and lots of volume above into 700. So once we failed that, I really should have seen that this morning. Once we failed underneath 700, that was a very obvious fade at that point. But again, need to see these sellers become buyers right now. I need to see these sellers get stuck for a potential squeeze up. Apple almost 4% down now. It's going to trade towards that 220. I remember that 220 was key months ago. Nice hold there. Really nice hold there in the market. This is your range right now in sort of here. This would be beautiful. This would be dangerous. And this would be a fade into here. Cover points into here. Runners beneath. So fairly balanced right now. You can even think about balanced in the New York session. IB high, IB low. We're trading at midpoint. What do I mean nice hold? I mean that they absorbed, buyers absorbed this bid here. This was a nice hold of the bid here. So if they break out here and you have low, higher low, higher high, higher low. If they break out here, break of structure, you get higher high. It was a nice hold to protect the low, I guess is the best way of putting it so far. Not in anything here. Made my money just waiting. I'm going to let this build out. There is liquidity stacking above, but again, you've got 100 lot at 21,500 and another 100 lot at 21,400. You've got to think, those traders in Asia had an awful lot of fun last night. H1 level, it's funny, isn't it? That H1 level we were looking at the last few weeks, we were saying, I think it was the day we were up here, I was saying I'd love a back test of this breakout level here, the point of control, to buy off here for this move up. And they did it so quick last night. Wasn't around for that. If you think about structure-wise, let's just clean this up. Think about structure-wise here. You can see why I was thinking potential squeeze. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder. If they can build out liquidity in here and hold, aim for this, and then thin up to here. Probably respect that level a little bit. That's clearly a support becomes resistance level. How do I know? Support, we dipped off it, broke through it, back tested it, resistance. So this is a support becomes resistance, SBR. Very, very simple. TR, go to my lesson that I posted Saturday or Sunday. Just did a big lesson on VWAP. Big lesson on VWAP. There you go. So they're going to try and do a squeeze out here again and search for that liquidity. So if you're in this long, pay yourself a little bit of money as you start to break out here to the upside, and then hold your runners for the moves. All right, hold your runners for a move in towards 65. What's this level here? Let's call it 75. Previous day high, 80. Pay yourself in these moves up, because if they're going to steal liquidity, my danger would be that move here. So far, that hold looked very, very good. Down here. We're still in buy signal. All right, flow zone still in buy signal. The better buy comes when flow zones start to cross and support action upside. Especially once they get through this lower time frame algo, this pink line here. If everything gets above here, we can go very, very bullish, very, very quick. But remember, you're in an IB session, right? So you're in an IB session. It can do this all day if it wants. There's no trend confirmation in this session. You are printing an outside bar right now on the daily, but it's a bit odd. It's a bit of an odd outside bar because it's massive. But the best buy signature was on the daily. The best buy was this. Resistance becomes support. Right here, that was a nice buy. 5-day, 20-day. Resistance becomes support. Daily order block. Everything to play off for this move. Location now, not as good for the upside moves, unfortunately, but we get what we get. We can't choose that. We come to the market and it will give us whatever's in front. You look good here, though. You're looking very good. Just make sure you're paying yourself a bit of money. In days like today, you have to pay yourself a bit of money. Idris, what do I use? So at the moment, here is a 1 minute. Then underneath, I have a 5 minute. Then underneath that, I have an hourly. Then underneath that, I have a daily. And then in front of me here, I've got a 5 and a 15 and a 2. And then over here, I have 5 and 10s on the ETFs and the VIXs. So multiple different time frames. Really, I care about the hourly chart and a 5 and 15 more than anything else. Lower time frame to execute, but I really care about hourly, 5 and 15 for where am I thinking about getting involved in, and then I'll execute on a lower time frame. But if you can do daily, 4 hour, you only need to check once or twice a day. So daily, hourly, 5, 15, you'll be good. If you understand the key levels on those, you'll be good. The reason I have all the 5 and 10s up on the ETFs is I'm interested in the cash and how cash is traded. I'm interested in the VWAP. So I talk about that in the VWAP lesson at the weekend. Well, activate, like, you have to pay yourself is what I keep saying. You have to pay yourself. If this is hurting you, this move's tiny. Look at these moves and these moves. And these moves. So if this is hurting you, you're oversized. I know you're oversized because you were 10K in drawdown. The only way that's not oversized is if you've got, 500K account. You shouldn't be taking 10K drawdown, buddy. It's just not how to trade. Exister, that's awesome. That is exactly how to trade. So Exister saying he's using micros, not minis. He's up 4.2 thousand on the session with a profit factor of 10. Beautiful. Lovely work. Like I said, the building liquidity out here, if they start to fail, you will get that rotation back down towards the lows. ES still relative strength. It's printing above its VWAP. SPY beneath its VWAP. Watching all these key levels. I'm not interested in anything right now personally. I'm just going to let this build out. Five-minute flow zones are in a downtrend. Right? Everything like that is in a downtrend. 15-minute flow zones are in a downtrend right now. 1-minute flow zones. We're trying to flip. There was a couple of little squeeze attempts higher. It might still build it out. We just have to see. ES finding some bids in front of VWAP there. Nice, Vanderman. So three clean trades, up $1,200. Great work. You don't need a lot of size in this market, honestly. It's moving more than enough. This trap under here, if this extends up through this, that's a 50-point move happen in seconds. Even if you're playing this short, same 50-point down, like huge moves. Don't need size. Back to VWAP. ES holding its VWAP. Said relative strength on the ES. Tesla now only 2.5% down, so starting to try and reclaim some levels. I'm going to have a quick look at these charts to see where supply is quickly on Tesla. Tesla trading into VWAP, right? If Tesla starts breaking through, it said it's 20-day and 5-day right now. If Tesla can start getting through 17s, it's got an upside move in it. For sure, it can get relief all the way up to 25. Let's have a look at Apple. What a bloodbath. Right, Apple trading at its IB low. It just looks terrible, guys. I'm not going to lie. Apple looks horrendous right now. It has a ton of liquidity down here into 220. I remember saying that was a big level last year. That was November. Break underneath 220 will open the door on Apple for a move to 217 all the way down to 213. I doubt that happens today. That would be a major liquidation event if it does. You'd be talking about, yeah, would that be 10% down? It might be if it got that low, which would make it SSR. But I don't think you get that today in Apple, but I think you probably get a liquidation and a bid. Don't think they'll want it to go on SSR. If Apple has an SSR day today, I would be a buyer in Apple tomorrow. Yeah, it's so weak and just so many downgrades on it. But you know, most of tech was overextended. I was thinking that we had a potential sell the news event, but then I was speaking to my dad about it last week, and I was like, I'm less convinced now. That reaction last week off the lower Bollinger Band on the daily and a push up and pivot, I don't think so. Gut says maybe trade back towards all-time highs now in the market, but it would mean tech would need to find some bids, and they haven't done that so far. Nice exister. Catch you later, buddy. Have a good day. So still sideways day, stuck underneath VWAP. They tried that squeeze up 1, 2, 3 attempts, not able to do it yet. So they're building out liquidity. Someone is going to lose here as they build out this liquidity. Same level we talked about. If they start to get stuck under here, shorts will win and they'll get a sell at least down to retest this low. Underneath here, a break of 520 is possible. If they soak up here, then potentially this is used in this direction and we go upside. Right now, I'm not going to trade this. Look at the flow zones. They're starting to go sideways. Everything's starting to go sideways. VWAP. Look at the angle of VWAP. Flat. Lower time frame. Almost flat. Sliding down. Higher time frame. Flat. 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 Equals chop. Trend. Nice and extended. Trend. Yeah. The angle or the slope of these matters. Went over it at the weekend. I'm not sure how long Existor's been using it. You know, you'll have to ask him. He's seen him in chat for a long time. So starting to liquidate these buyers now. ES back to VWAP and previous day high again. VIX starting to trade upside. VIX trying to reclaim previous day low after creating an IBL, trading back to previous day low. Reclaims that, squeezes upside, market gets weak. Fails that, we continue to range. I don't know what to say, Activated. Sounds like you were in the money for a bit as well. It's oversizing. It's holding on to losers and oversizing. It's not being willing to take a stop. Take the rest of the day off. When you're feeling better tomorrow, come back. Have a look where your stop should have been. Have a look where undoubtedly you continue to add into a trade. Have a look if that trade gave you an exit close to break even if you didn't take it. If you didn't take some of your size off, you know? Just sitting in volume. All the volume on this session has been built here and the session before. We're in and around points of control right now. Not trading NT8. You're asking me. I am trading NT8. I execute on NT8 right here. And I'm up on the session. Yeah, up nicely on the session. Those are all funded. But I show trading view so that everyone can use my indicators and algos. If you're new here, so you get all these. That's why. But yeah, I only ever execute in Ninja, really. So nice bounce and hold again there. ES, previous day high and VWAP, absolutely key. We're continuing to try and build out liquidity in this level here. We had a sweep and a break below. Did it stay heavy for that rotation? No, starting to try and reclaim. It's choppy, guys. You can expect chop. Why can we expect chop? Because overnight range was big. How else do we know? Because we're inside of initial balance. How else do we know? Because it's telling you right here. So if they've caught enough shorts now, they'll have another go. If they fail here, they'll trade back down again. It's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until they've got one side completely offside. No worries, Thumper. Good work, mate. Nice work. So if you're new here, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get the likes up to 50 on stream. The more people that turn up on YouTube, the more giveaways I'll be able to go through. Yeah, TR saying to Thumper, it's Tuesday. I mean, it is, but it's the first day of the week to create the weekly range, which is why he's referring to it that way. But yeah. First day in, exactly. It's creating the weekly range. Those in the room, it's the first day to really create our range for our weekly model setups. Definitely feels like a Monday. Yeah, it does. It definitely feels like a Monday. Especially after the college game last night as well. That always feels like it's on a Sunday. Football. Terrible weekend of sport for me. Absolutely horrendous weekend of sport for me. To watch the Rams lose, to watch Arsenal lose. Arsenal now definitely out of the Premier League runnings. It's Liverpool's now. Ugh. So now I just have to wait for F1 season. The only thing that got me excited was seeing Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari this weekend. That was the only thing. Peter, lovely work. That's great work for this session. See you tomorrow, my friend. Watching carefully here. Watching these kind of levels after liquidating. Can they do this? It will need relief on tech to do that. Otherwise, it's just going to chop and chop and chop and chop and chop. SPY back to its VWAP. QQQ trying to trade back to its VWAP. The ETF's trying to reclaim. You're a Lewis guy, yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing him at Ferrari. Throw all my old kit out. And buy all the new Lewis Ferrari kit. Can't wait. So are we going to trade upside here? Is this the initiation of the start of a squeeze? Remember, there's sellers on the tape at 650. So can they get that little squeeze up towards 650? Can they trade through VWAP? Watching this. See if it goes here. You should try being Man U fan. I don't even feel sorry for you lot, you know. Not one bit. Squeeze looks good here for a move to 50s, in my opinion. Starting to hold and base. Starting to reclaim. ES looking very, very strong. So if you're going to take this, or if you're already in it, just make sure you're paying yourself a little bit for that move to liquidity. They're trying to add liquidity above it. If they can add a lot above it, then I think you're going to hold on and get a bigger move. Great way to retire, win as a champion at Ferrari. I mean, that would be the dream, wouldn't it? What a legacy move that would be. You know, to go from McLaren to Mercedes to Ferrari and win at all three, that would be incredible. Oh yeah, Tyson. I honestly feel like, as an Arsenal fan, we've been the unluckiest team for the last 2 or 3 years, whether it been dodgy ref decisions over and over again. Same at Villa last year, same at Newcastle, handball at Villa this year given. They kick the ball away numerous times after a free kick, never get a yellow, where we get like yellows and reds for those. It drives me nuts the way we are treated. It drives me nuts. Yes, Idris, buy and sell pressure. I don't really pay attention to it. It's printing per that candle, right? So it's printing. This is per that candle. It's not my indicator, so I don't pay too much attention to it. I like the volume, the way the volume looks. I don't follow this too much. But yeah, that's exactly how you can use it. I can't stand Verstappen. I can't stand Verstappen. I can't stand Red Bull. So that's just how it is. Yeah, yeah. Very sad. Very sad, TR. But yeah, so horrible day of sport for me. You know, watching the Rams go out, especially when we had a chance. Even in that snow, I felt like we had a chance. Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I don't understand why Yuki put up with it. I would have left years ago if I was him. He was never going to get a seat in Red Bull ever, 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 ever. And I know they love Daniel more for like the debenture lounges and the PR. So a friend, next door neighbor of mine, his wife heads up Hublot for PR, and also Richard Mill. And they were saying the season where Daniel wasn't in there, people like he's such a big personality. He's used for all like the lunches and the dinners and all that stuff. So it made sense for them to keep him on from that point of view. But he just lost his edge as a driver for sure. Lost his edge. And when he's getting favoured over Yuki, you know, a young driver that they've had there for ages, it's just tough. It's tough. But there's so much like crap like that in the sport. Like, look at Lance Stroll. He should be nowhere near that sport right now. Let's face it. Any other team would have dropped him years ago. Yeah, looking forward to the new season. We'll see. We'll see what the Rari car looks like. I'll try and get to a few more races this year. I think I'd like to go to Montreal this year, and I'd like to go back and maybe do something like a Singapore or something like that. Would be fun. Maybe a breakdown now. Yeah, maybe. I mean, still just back and forth in range. Like, it's just offering trades up to both sides of the range and not beyond it right now. So if you think about this as kind of a box, failing above, failing above, failing below, failing below. All right, so it's trading back and forth and back and forth. When one side rejects, then you get a trade. Until then, it's just trading back and forth in that range. It's hard because it's trying to encourage buyers to come in here. Even I thought this would go at that point, and it instantly failed. And now it's going to encourage sellers to come in here. The only thing I'd say, sell side. Let me have a look. Still holding on to London lows right now. I know we swept them, but still basing around here. Lots of volume now created between 625 and 600. And there are relative equal lows at 521. It gets very, very thin when we're starting to get under sort of 590s. Starts to really thin out sub 590. Apple now trading up at 221. So not letting go of that 220, that big level we said was important. Tesla now only 2.9% down. I say that because it was over 4% down on the session. Yeah, Steve, like it's really tough when it does this. You know it's just got to build out liquidity. We know we're in a inside initial balance. We know this is key, right? Squeeze, or at least to here. If they fail this, down to here. So this really, unless you're being very small with size and playing edges, is probably a bit of a no trade zone. Let everyone else get trapped. Yeah, tricky. Glad I made my money today. It might set up later. Might need a. Remember, there's no headlines forecast for today. Later on in the week, I think we have jobs data coming Wednesday. Let me have a look. I did post it last night in the room. So Wednesday, not too much. Nothing today. Thursday, initial jobless claims, and then Friday, consumer sentiment. Then obviously anything from the White House in between that. So those would be the big movers I'd be looking for. Yeah, nice, Steve. Just don't try and fix it too much, you know? Like, it's okay to take it red or take it break even. Don't make it worse. If there's a good trade setup there, that's great. But if there's no setup there for you, less interested. Remember, still, view up, sideways, deep pullback, sideways. Look at the difference in the momentum clouds. They're now sideways. If we get a big push, they'll open up. Same for a big fail. But right now, everything's starting to trade sideways. They're having another attempt at the squeeze here. ES, again, relative strength. ES wants to move higher. It wants to move higher, but the NQ's lagging. Why? Apple and Tesla. Back to view up here, probably. So that range trade would have paid again. So it's once, twice, 3 times, maybe you liquidate that time, 4 times back to the top of the range. Can they break out and hold, or are they going to fail the top of the range again? Some point you'd imagine they're letting through. Lots of sellers here, 650, 655, 645. All those guys looking to get filled. Feels like it just needs one sort of big shove upside, even if it's to clear everyone out, you know. But it's been up here numerous times, isn't it, already in this session? Numerous times come up here and tested. A seller stacking up at 50. You'd think it would go and at least clear out 50. It's only like sort of 10-point pop higher. So 50 here, sellers here on the tape, 90 lot there. So you kind of expect them to go and take that out, and then maybe you get a relief higher from that. There's the move towards 50. Here we go. I'm in a little bit of this for this move. Moving my stop up in the money straight away because I'm buying high on the range, right? There's no retest. So there's 50. Beautiful. So just be careful if this is stop, run, and turn inside. If it's not, then we can get a relief all the way up into 60s and 70s. Yes, looking very good. That seller at 50, taken out, 100 lot. So you got a 20 lot above here at 55, then a 40 lot at 60, then a 30 lot at 65, and then it gets a little bit thin all the way up to 700. So a little bit thin from currently from 670 up to 700. It gets much thinner there. So I'd say above here, 670, here it gets thin up to 700. Sort of here to here gets thin. So if you took this, I've only got tiny little runners left. If you took this, just pay yourself some money. Flow zones are trying to get above the deep pullback clouds. They will need to support price action up here. Failure under here, do not be adding into that. I do not like ads down here now. Well, down here, I should say. I want to see these sellers become stuck. Otherwise, no bueno. Remember, the obvious move was to 650 just to clear out those guys. You need to see this just firm up and hold. If it keeps failing, don't keep adding in. It was really, there was seller on the tape here, and we were saying that this was the range. Right, so failure to break out, failure to break out, failure to break out, failure to break out, failure to break out. And then here, it was high risk, but it felt like very obvious to take 650. He was on the tape and then holding for runners above. And we're saying if it fails under here, it's not a trade. But notice the flow zone starting to try and print upside here to support rather than going sideways. We zoom in. Like this green and blue cloud, this cloud here is trying to support bids. It needs to extend up here. So it was a scalp only into 650 and then a runner for anything above that. If these sellers at the top of the range become buyers, we go upside. If they sell back inside, we go back into this dreaded range. So really, this here, this level here is an RBS. Resistance becomes support. That's what you're looking for here, around here. If that doesn't happen, I'd be risk off. TR, when I'm in an initial balance day, yes. When I'm in something like this, yes, definitely. When I'm in a trend day, no. I try and just add and add and add into my trend in the direction of the trend until I get to my liquidity target. Seven more likes, team. We're almost there. Just under an hour left with you on stream. So they're trying to do that RBS, that last wick down. They're trying to hold the flow zones and a possible RBS. Idris, we will. We absolutely will. We'll get them this year. I don't know which direction yet, but I think we'll get a clear move. And that's why I just want to get through this first month. Kind of want to get through January, let Trump settle in, let them put all the sort of new orders in place, get into the earnings. You know, we've got Netflix tonight. I want to see what's what. February, March, get through Q1, off to the races. Yeah, exactly, Idris. All you have to do is look at the monthly chart the past few years. We move this to, oh, let's do a weekly. Oh, not you. Don't want you moving. I want the one underneath. This one. So let's go. January here last year, big pullback. Big pullback. January the year before, where are you? Here, small pullback, extension through February, March. January 23, pull back into March, then extension and go. So, but we are set, you can see what we're setting up on the weekly here. We are holding these key levels, back test of that. So technically from a weekly standpoint, we're bullish holding this. We get under here and stuck, then we can get a bigger drive down. But all the time we're doing this, maybe we can go into a pro trend long February, March, April or something. That would be amazing. Let me change that back, otherwise I'm going to forget I've done that. Would you remember the last trend day so I can check it out on live recording? The last... A pro trend hasn't actually happened since Jan 7th. Technically, from Jan 7th until Jan 13th were the last pro trend days. We did take some counter trend days, which were good trend days. Wednesday the 15th. Wednesday the 15th. But pro trend has not been since Jan 7th. So this day, okay, we were in initial balance, but I remember this day we were long here and long here. And then off stream in the Discord, we were long here as well. Remember that day? But you'd have to go, yeah, you have to go pretty far back for pro trend, because pro trend right now technically on a daily is lower prices. So technically the pro trend would be outside of the IBL to the downside. So that was probably likely on Jan 7th. You probably also had one the 27th and the 30th of December. I wouldn't have traded those. I was away. Still chopping here, but still looks pretty good, right? Holding above this range now. All the time it can hold above this range. Can we extend, take this liquidity and aim for these? Bear with me, team. I am starting to get a bit sleepy, which means it is time for a coffee. I'll leave everything up for you. I'll be right back. Hopefully my wife's brewed one, so I don't have to be too long. Look at that. What a good wife. Coffee brewed. She brought me my oats this morning. Amazing woman. Very lucky man. Puts up with me getting up early in the mornings as well. Couldn't do it without her, that's for sure. All right, so trading back towards that VWAP and the flow zones. Can it hold where these sellers were? Remember, we're in range rotation. A lot of the market might feel very much like I do, where it's like, what are we getting here? What are we likely to get here for the rest of the year? Like if I have a look at the news, Reuters, all right, Trump part 2, day 1. So I'm just going to read this. This came out at 7:30. So this hit my wire just over an hour ago. Main US indexes, green, Dow out in front, up 0.7. This was this morning. Utilities and S&P sector lead the gainers. Energy is the weakest group, right? If you watched yesterday, he put an emergency energy order. He pulled out of the climate summit. Is it the Paris Agreement? Euro STOXX 600 up 0.2%. Dollar rises, gold, Bitcoin both up. So that means those are your hedges. So gold, Bitcoin, and dollar all up. Those are your hedges to the market. So that was the hedge play this morning. US Treasury yields fall 4.5 or fall to. I was going to say, Jesus, what? Fall to 4.57%. As promised and expected, US President Donald Trump hit the ground running soon after taking the oath of office, signing a plethora of executive orders, which included sweeping pardons for supporters who stormed the US Capitol on Jan 6th, withdrawing from the World Health Organization, that's the WHO, and other attention-grabbing actions. TD Securities published a policy note focusing on those that could have immediate implications for the market. These include the expected appointment of a new agency chief and the freezing of rulemaking and withdrawal of purposes, which is standard after each election, the broker says. The note identifies Trump's decision to allow Democratic Caroline Crenshaw to keep her seat at the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, as the biggest surprise. But the order for the US government to bring down housing costs by increasing housing supply was singled out by head researcher Jarrett Seelberg. Tight housing supply as a result of elevated mortgage rates has been a headwind for the sector, while Seberg writes, there are no details on how he's going to achieve this. He notes that the order requires monthly progression updates. As widely anticipated, Trump established the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, but this too was short on specifics. The order does not set deadlines for action or detail how changes will be implemented. Obviously, they're going to take time to figure that out with Musk. An order was also signed which ends work from home for federal employees, a move which could help prop up the struggling commercial real estate sector in Washington. All right, so those were the notes coming this morning in the market. I'm just reading the news there from Reuters. So this is the market, really. What you're seeing here, if we even zoom out, and we even just take these off for a second. All right, this is from yesterday. Where did he get signed in? 1 o'clock, right? Is that about right? Was it 1 o'clock? No, 9 o'clock my time, so midday. Okay, this is basically yesterday. This is Trump getting in. This is some of the executive orders being signed. Panic. And this is now digesting the news, right? And we might have this for a while until we realize the actual implications of some of these policies on the market. This is what I was saying. Expect the unexpected. We haven't been in a market where we've had to worry or think about these for a while. I'd say for the last 6-7 years, well, maybe not that long, for the last 4 years at least, all we've been focused on is the Fed. All we've been focused on is inflation rate, right, and interest rates. That's all we've cared about. Are we cutting? Are we hawkish? Are we dovish? On top of that, we've been looking at like the AI sequencing, like chip makers, tech, strength. Now we have to consider loads more sectors. We have to consider lots of unknowns right now. I'm just reading Miguel. Yeah, well, while I'm on stream, I get nice treatment. I'm not sure I get it all the time off stream. So that pullback here, do they hold this pullback, or is this the break underneath on a 1 minute? All right, but for now, I would say we're still holding this. If we trade back inside here, potentially new squeeze. If they fail this block, this is what I'd be concerned about, would be a lower low and a rotation and a sweep of all of this. ES looking very, very strong. Cannot say this enough. ES looking very strong. QQQ is right at its VWAP now. SPY is above its VWAP. ES is above its VWAP. The Qs are lagging today. They are the weaker of the indexes. They're only up 0.23%. ES is up over 0.5% on the session. RTY 0.2% on the session. And the Dow Jones, the YM, is up almost 1%. Any questions on stream while this is just chopping backwards and forwards? I know I'm not active right now, guys. I'm calling what I can see. It's not been an easy day. I'm nicely green. You had liquidity built out here. If these sellers get stuck here, you get this relief move. Now they're starting to trade inside. I'd be very careful about lower low and a sweep of these very quickly. But ES has relative strength. It is tagging into its supply block here on the ES, right? So I'm watching ES. These are basically the highs it put in from 5 o'clock this morning and Monday at 7 o'clock. And that would extend all the way up to, 9:30 yesterday, where we put in that peak high on ES. So I'd be watching, be very careful, because we are trading into supply now on the ES. We can have a quick view over of the market again if you want. Right here, so you can see Apple still leading the charge to the downside, one of the only ones, and Tesla, everything else looking pretty good other than energy. Again, energy selling off because of those changes in policies that started to come in. Microsoft flat. So if these went green, QQQ would have, or if Tesla, Apple, and Microsoft went green or had some relief, QQQ would get a lot more relief to the upside. Why do I trade NQ as opposed to ES? That's a good question. Mainly because I like making money fast. So I would say NQ is very violent. And also I'd say the market leader in terms of the last few years has been tech. Right? If we think about the scope of even if you go the SPY, the 500, but definitely the top 100 companies, but definitely the top 500 companies, 7 companies have probably done 80-90% of the legwork. Yeah, if you look at most the companies in general, they've been very weak, which is why RTY and YM had really struggled. So if tech's going to be strong, right, and I know tech's heavily weighted in NQ, if I want to watch tech, if I can have days where tech's up 1%, if we're gapping up 1%, I'm looking for a gap and go, and it's going to extend higher, then I want to play the NQ because I know that NQ is going to follow that Mag 7 really well. Days like today, where you've got Apple down massive. Now, Apple now down 4.2%. It just got slammed. It's coming into that 220 right now. Right, 220.18 is trading into. So if you get days like today where Apple's down, Microsoft's down, Meta's like flat, Tesla's down, but Nvidia's up and Google's up and Amazon's up, we're going to get a choppy day. If you get days where Mag 7 are doing the hard work, if they're all green and bullish, I know I'm looking for buys on the NQ, right? Make it really easy because I don't have to worry so much about the health sector and the financial sector, which are in the SPY. Remember the NQ, top 100 companies, heavy tech-based. SPY, 500 companies, a little less tech-based. So that's basically why. When tech's in power, I like playing with that. If we got an occasion where the market leader was, let's say, finance, and we're going to focus on the financial and we're going to focus on that sector, maybe then I'd flip over to ES. But now I've been on NQ so long that it would almost feel alien for me to do that. But hopefully that makes sense for you, Jim. What I would say, though, is, and I have a big lesson on this in the course, I don't know if you're doing the course or not, but relative strength and relative weakness become important. We know that ES has relative strength today. It's up 0.5%. NQ now only up 0.5%. What's the easier buy? The easier buy is going to be on the one with relative strength. All right, the easier buy is going to be on that. Look at this, Apple liquidating that 220. Wow, just absolutely smashed all that. All those swings are going to get absolutely smashed now. I'm just going to trade into this. Yeah, liquidating every single bull out the market from October 31st last year on Apple. So now, where can Apple trade down to? Apple can now trade all the way down to 217 and 214, 213.90s. All right, so bulls on Apple getting liquidated. What I might do is, where is a 200-day on Apple? Let me just check this. Where is the 200-day? Oof, not far away. All right. In general, the 200-day is a buy in the market. So Apple down into 217s and anywhere around there, long term is probably a buy in the market. Momentum-wise, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Remember, we're trading off a pin high of 260 all the way down into the teens now. But normally, you would expect a bid in and around that 217, that 200-day moving average. And like we just said, you have liquidity, you have pivot lows in and around, I've got to take this indicator off again, sorry, in and around, yeah, those levels and all the way down to 196. To be honest, long-term investment in Apple, I would be looking to see if the market was interested in accumulating. If this is as a swing investment, how I would trade it, it's not financial advice. I'd be looking to trade that 200-day moving average, 200-week moving average, adding on dips into the teens, 200, all the way down to potentially 86. All right, that would be for a long-term investment. I'm talking about 5, 10, 20-year outlook here, right? If I'm thinking that that company can remain strong. But so far, it is getting smashed today. Now down 10 points on the day, Apple. Right, YQs are struggling. Yeah, Idris probably right, and I'm sure they are. All right, if you look at their model the last few years, their model is not first to the market. All right, it's being late to the market and being better than everyone else. So that has gone against that innovation kind of process for a while, but I'm sure it's going to work. How long before they get the Vision Pro right? I know it's a very expensive product right now. It's not mass used, but with the new chips coming out and all these things, can we see a cheaper, more affordable Vision Pro that becomes something used in every household, for example, or something like that? Who knows? Could be something completely different. I'm fairly convinced that they will get something right at some point. Especially when you think about who's in power now. They're going to get rid of lots of red tape. Maybe it gets easier. Let's see. I'll tell you what will go against them is if they make them make phones here and put massive tariffs on importation from China. Because if they make them make the iPhone here, that thing is not $2,000. That thing's like $5,000 and $6,000 to buy. Which is why I don't think that will happen. That will shoot the consumer in the foot. Yeah, TR, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But you see it with a lot of these companies. You go through cycles. You go through cycles. But I'd say, like, the watch has been massive. That's highly innovative. Is QQQ going to be up end of day? Yeah, good question. Good question. Right now, we're just midpoint of the range. Holding that 50% there. That's your range, basically. So Apple reclaiming. So like we said, liquidated 220, going for the reclaim now. So it's already back above 220. So it liquidated all those swing stops at 220, liquidated them all. If Apple starts to regain, I would say 221. All right, it's IBL. If it starts to regain that level, then you're going to get a short covering rally on the market, maybe up towards 222 is a break of that, and you really open the door. If they do that, QQQ will get the bounce. Notice Q's, I was trying to get a bounce here as Apple tries to trade upside. Not upside on the day, upside off its lows. ES approaching the IB high, not far away now. That's the other thing, TR. That's the other thing. Exactly what you just said. There's less need to buy them. All right, I'm exactly the same. Used to be back in the day, you'd upgrade every year or every 18 months. Happy to hold on to phones for 2, 3, 4 years if they're still working well, because what's the difference now? It's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot. So that's the other thing. You get a slowdown, starts to plateau. It's not like they're doing negative sales. All these companies are doing monstrous sales. It's to do with, can they get a 5% beat? Probably not, right? And that's what's being priced in. Could I flash up how you have the charts for Mag 7? Yeah. So the main thing I'm looking at is here. Yeah. Is this scrolling down for you? I probably can't. Can I go higher time frame? Right, my Mag 7's here. Above the bonds up here. Sorry, it's like flipped between two. It's really hard for me to show you here. There you go. You see that? This is Mag 7. And then I can just click on them, and I use all the same indicators that I use on all my charts. All right, so I know if they're up and down, and I can just quickly click through that Mag 7 through my list, put them on my charts, and I'm still looking at the same things all the time. My flow zones, my VWAPs, the important SMAs on daily levels, Bollinger Bands. So I just flick them into the time frame that I need to look at it on. I go through all of this stuff in the course, absolutely everything. Yeah, exactly. Well, I can see them. They're there. My Mag 7 are there, so I can see what they're printing. And then if I know one's coming into a key level, like I know 220 is a key level on Apple. I can remember that from last year. It's been a key level for ages. So once we got into it, I clicked on it, I checked. I was like, yep, that's a liquidation event. If we stay heavy below 220, we rotate lower. If we stop run 220, print inside, that's probably a liquidation of the buyers, and then we can get a squeeze relief higher. Right, so then it's just knowing your levels. If you don't know your levels, draw them out, set price alerts. Best thing you can do, just set price alerts at key pivot points. I could have set a price alert at 220.25, for example, today on Apple, and that could have been there for months, and then it will flash up once it gets hit, tells me, okay, Apple's trading into this level, and I can name that price alert. I can call it liquidation event coming. Make it easy for yourself. Make it as easy for yourself as possible. Like if you don't have enough screen space and you don't know where all-time high is, set a price alert near all-time high on the ES, on the NQ. Set a price alert for the VIX for key levels. Like VIX is in a trend day down right now, which is amazing. Right? It is just bleeding out, coming into low 15s now. 15.24 we're trading into on the VIX. Right? We've faded from every retest of that IBL. We're fading lower. That should increase the chance of trend day up. But notice ES is not having a trend day up above the IBH, which it should be doing with the VIX printing under IBL. Why is it not doing that? Because we're lagging. We're lagging with tech because Apple is making it impossible for the market to get really bullish right now. Remember, Apple is the biggest company in the stock market. So when it's having a minus 4% down day, it's going to be very, very hard for anything to move upside. If you had Apple flat right now, we'd be breaking out. We would be breaking out right now. If Apple starts to reclaim and go, you're going to get relief on the market higher. But notice how we're stuck between this lower time frame algo. Real bullishness comes when the flow zones get above this lower time frame algorithm. So 25 minutes left with you guys. Again, I'm not in any trades. Made my money early this morning. Probably should have been selling this morning, to be honest. Probably should have been selling all these moves. That was nice. This was really good. This should have been a sell rather than me trying to buy that dip into the golden zone. It's just so clean. But I really told myself I wanted to be a buyer off the lows for potential squeezes this morning. That's what I had in my head. It would look more like Y. Yeah, exactly. YM up 1%. Yes, exactly that. Look at YM. Broke above its IB and just trading upside. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right, Capped. Good call. Yeah, activate. It's there. It's dangling there, but it's already liquidated it. Right, so the question is, does it stay heavy versus it? It keeps trading backwards and forwards to it. If you look at that level and you zoom right back, you will have to go all the way back on it to end of October, beginning of November. Right, it's liquidated that level. Is it going to find bids here, or does it need to trade down to that September 16th area, 16th to 17th? If it trades back inside, we get upside squeeze relief on the market. If they keep failing versus 220s, next level down, right? Next zone. VIX with a little push here, coming back to its IB. Market still just chopping backwards and forwards sideways. So any more questions? 2 more likes on the stream, guys. That's all we need. Back down towards point of control right now. On the hourly chart, you can see it here. Point of control here, and from previous day. Extended through into POC, just hanging out here. And you can see I just added the volume on here because I just wanted to see where we were building. Very, very thick in here. All right, so failures under here, we get thin, like I said. Thin down here, thin overhead until we get to this node right here, which is where supply is. I'm watching all of these things very, very closely. Do you know what? Can I change this a little bit to clean it up for you? How many of you watched the video that I did at the weekend on VWAP? Was it useful? Did you find it useful? Lots of you voted really late on after I saw it to do the 10 a.m. reversal. So I'll do that video for next weekend. I'll do the 10 a.m. reversal video next weekend. We had one today and attempted it right here, 10 o'clock into 10:15. 10 a.m. reversal. They attempted to do it. So Carol's saying it was great. Idris used it. No worries. Leron just, I think that's you, Leron. You just passed the course, just finished it this weekend. Congratulations. TR's done it. Miguel did it. RHD did it. Yeah, VWAP, very, very powerful indicator. So any of you who did that will know right now we are sideways. The slope is telling you no trend. We're beneath it, it's telling you we can be bearish. We can anchor off the New York Open, which should be, let's get 30. Downtrend and now sideways and stuck underneath it. So we're bearish to chop right now. That's what we're in, according to VWAP. Jonathan, yeah, I love the anchor VWAPs, man. They're so underutilized. Off like key pivot points, they come in so helpful off key pivot points. Same with Bollinger Bands and on daily timeframes. I only use Bollinger Bands on daily timeframes, but they can really help as well. Just to understand your positioning, where is the 2 standard deviation? What is the likelihood of extension outside of a Bollinger Band? Very small. All we're really doing with indicators, I see lots of people being like, indicators are lagging. Yeah, they are lagging. Do you want to be first to the market? No. So why do you need an indicator that's telling you something before it's happened? It just makes me laugh when people say that. I'm like, that's great. So you're going to pick tops and bottoms, are you? Good luck with that. Yeah, small caps, I would agree. And I will not be here for Power Hour. Not because I can't be, because I do not want to be around if they want to put a ripper on. Right? I do not want to be the wrong side of some of those trades. I think people will get slipped hard in this market with stops. I think you can get slipped real quick. Right? Apple staying heavy versus 220. Now printing 50 cent lower, trying to reclaim a little bit, but Apple's in trouble today. Is 10% SSR? Am I right with that? It's 10%, isn't it, for an SSR day? We'd have to do another 10 points. I can't see that happening. But I just want to check. Does anyone else know that? I think it's 10% on Nasdaq-based stocks. Let's have a look. You almost never see mega caps. Yeah, it's 10%. Yeah, it's not going to do that. The only ones I've ever seen do that, other than in like halt down days, are Tesla and Nvidia because they're so wild. But yeah, I don't see Apple fading off another 10 points. Andrew H. What's that in reply to? Anchored VWAPs. Yeah, just rotation, continues rotation here. Again, hands off. I'm not playing this. I'm up nicely on the day. I'm up probably around $3,000. Let's have a look. Yeah, about $3,000. Not forcing anything. Nice way to start the week. I'll take it. I did make some of that last night, I must say. I did make some of that last night. And not a lot, but I caught... Where was that pivot? I caught this, a little bit of this, and a little piece of this. There was a seller on the tape there last night looking to get filled, so it made it very, very obvious where the market was going to draw towards. It was 650. He was up here. So I had just small size for this move. All right, team. Almost there. 15 minutes left. If you want to ask any questions. Percentage gain, that's a good question. I'll have to go through my stats for percent. I rarely look at stats. I basically look for base hits. That's all I'm looking for. And at the moment, I'm just rotating accounts, like 4 or 5 accounts. And it also depends, what are you considering percent gain on? Are you considering it versus drawdown or versus size of account? Because I would argue with when you're trading on prop firms, your percent gain should be versus drawdown, because you don't really have 150,000 in the account, right? Really, what you've got is like 4,500, because that's the amount you can lose. So if I'm up 1,400 on one of those accounts today versus 4,500, that's a very, very good gain. If you did it versus the size of the account, it'd be different. Idris, now I use it to understand the volatility and the risk in the market. Right, so when the VIX is trading downside, I know there's potential upside in the market, right? Especially when we get into low teens in the market. I don't want to be thinking about short plays as we drift lower on the VIX. If the VIX is like basing at highs or starting to like really extend higher, when we have those violent moves on the VIX, I'm never looking for longs. Right, so really, it's for me confluence of risk assessment. Does that make sense? Yeah, exactly, Vanderman. That's how I think of it. Is 3K gain over all of your accounts? Not all of them. It's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So one of them's up 1,400. The other's up 500, 400, 565, 100. Yeah, confluence. I'm always looking for confluence. So like, I'll give you an example. Let's say I had a bias of the market of I'm looking for shorts and a really big deep fade in the market, but VIX is just trading lower and lower and lower and lower, then there's a good chance I'm offside. The other thing that you can use it for is divergence, right? When all the markets are trading in one direction, you know one of those is going to give up. You can't have market drifting upside with the VIX moving upside. One of them is going to give up. So you can then look at key levels, who's starting to let go, and then you can position yourself for it. Yeah, very hot. Yeah, exactly, Jonathan. That's what I was saying. How would you calculate it? The way I just do everything is base hits. Right, I'm looking for base hits on my accounts, and I just rotate through them. Base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit. And I take very small drawdown. I'm not looking for big losing days. Do not want to lose money on these accounts. I'm happy to just take my stop where it should be. I'm not oversizing. That's why my gains are fairly small and consistent. The days where I do really well are those pro trend days, where if everything shifted bullish today and I can position for it and add into it, I will have more size on than normal, because I know my entry's good and my risk parameters are good, and I'll just trail up under each pivot. Yeah. Yeah, Andrew, and then I start linking. I'll link them together. If I'm trading smaller size, I don't mind linking them together. If I'm confident in a market, I'll link them together. Also, it depends on the rules. So right now, I'm mainly trading Tradeify and Apex, and they both have different rules. So like with Tradeify, I could link my accounts and just leave the trade on. I don't need to worry about trading drawdown. With Apex, I can't do that. So the last thing I want with Apex is 1,500, 2,000 in the profit comes back and fills me and I only make $500 on it. With Traderify, that's fine. With Apex, that counts as drawdown, right? So all these things I have to consider. Like I just said, RHD, I do, but there has to be key things in the market for me to do it. Lots of the times I'll trade everything together, but right now, do I want to risk all my accounts together in market conditions on the first real day of presidency, let's say, for example? No. But once we go into like, okay, we're in a bullish market condition, I feel confident, we've got liquidity to aim for above, I feel confident and I know the kind of ATR we're going to get per candle, then I can do that. It's just mitigating risk. It's not like I'll never do that. Like there was back end of last year, I was very, very bullish on those rotations up with all my accounts together. Yes, Andrew, exactly. Replicanto. CC, all depends on the account. Yeah, it all depends on the account size, and the ATR. So one of the things I don't like about Apex is they want you to trade the same size contracts all the time. I think that is the most effing stupid thing I've ever heard. Why should you have to trade the same size all the time if your ATR and range is different? Sometimes the ATR is 10 points, sometimes the ATR is 70 points. Do you trade the same size for that? You'll get punished if you're the wrong one. So that's what makes it difficult. Chris, yeah, volume profile here and session profile here. Not too. I rarely use this on the 5-minute chart. I'm just watching to see how we're basing here, but I use session and point of control on the hourly chart all the time. I always have that up. Look at this squeeze, beautiful squeeze here, by the way, as Apple trades back to 220. So into lower time frame algorithm right here, this pink line. Liquidity is sat here, right? This is what this market wants to come and take out. Watching it on the book, you have a 113 lot at 675, and then above that 50 lot at 700. I think we talked about that the whole time. The squeeze from here to here can happen very, very quick. Here it goes. So I got caught monologuing, talking to you all, and that's a beautiful trade, all right? So there, buy signal here. I wouldn't have touched this, but this here, trade through, and now upside. If you're in this, congratulations. Lock in some profits as you're trading into this liquidity here. Still got to take out that 75 on the book. He's still there, 100 lots, so you're still likely to take him out. Watching that trade into 75. Watch ES into its IB high, session high on the day. Vanderman, yeah, lovely work. Yeah, very, very nice. So banging on the door towards that 75. If you take out that 100 lot, you should initiate a move upside towards, let's have a look where that wick is, 77s, and then into previous day highs, 80s, and then possibly all the way up here. Let's just think about this from this failure point. And then let's do one from IB as well, from the session open. Yeah, so coming into golden zones, so the buys become less and less favorable as we squeeze up here. It's a big, big move, this, off that, about 70, 75 points off that initiation of the squeeze. So make sure you're paying yourself. Again, you would want to see the same thing. You want to see these sellers become buyers on retest. Somewhere around here, they will need to hold. You want these sellers to become buyers. They need to get out break even, initiate market buy orders on their stops. These are people who maybe added or didn't take out or didn't stop out when they should have. Any retrace, they need to become a buyer in the market. If they don't become a buyer in the market, you cannot be adding into this. This can be squeeze out and drop back down just as quick. Chris Alice, just want to say you're the best day trader with explanation and understanding of the market. Thank you, Chris. Very kind of you. Vanderman, you're in it. Great work. Great work. People here that copy trade, do you have to use NinjaTrader? You do not have to use NinjaTrader. You do not have to use NinjaTrader. What software or what platform do you trade on? And I'll tell you what you can use. So again, you're looking for retests, this guy here into around here. These will have to initiate buys. You want flow zones to support this, and then upside is potential on a squeeze. You still have that 100, 115, 116 lot at 675, and then above that you have a move to 700 possible. Okay, so Top Step X has its own platform in, so you will only be able to initiate copy trades with those Top Step accounts if you're trading on Top Step X. So IB high here on the ES. This is its high of day. All right, it's trading into high of day. I think it's 72, somewhere around that. Just tagged its initial balance high. Remember, there's no trend until we get technically outside of that. Relative weakness in the Qs. You have 5 or 4 minutes left, really, until lunch. We're trading back inside. Am I on the right one? Yeah, sorry. Mouse gone crazy. Watching these daily levels. This is where you broke down from this morning. So you've repriced into that level. Right, so you don't want to initiate buys into some of these areas. You want to be thinking about, can I take profits? Can I hold runners? This is where we broke down from. This blue box didn't hold up. So technically, right, this is a SBR level. Let's make this a bit smaller. And then above there, we can think about the highs. He's still here at 75. Tradeovate for personal. So Tradeovate, yeah, you can. Tradeovate has its copier in, has its own copier in. You can trade on NinjaTrader with Tradeovate. You can trade on multiple platforms with Tradeovate. Remember, NinjaTrader now owns Tradeovate. Or you can use on TradingView. Yeah, just like Jonathan said, using using Tradeovate, but execute on TradingView because Tradeovate kind of sucks. Each to their own, isn't it? I don't like Tradeovate either. I really like Ninja. But it's each to their own. So tapping on 75, 75, 75, and got filled there. So you got filled by a point, so we traded through that guy. There are bids down below underneath 650 now. And there are sellers on the tape up at 700. 156 lot up at 700 now. I think they bought it for the online presence. I know I've had some meetings with NinjaTrader recently. They are launching like an online app and stuff like that. So I think that's why. And it meant they got into the web-based browser kind of, let's say, sector, I guess. Easy. It was easy for them to get into it with that move. So IBH rejecting here on the ES. Remember, you would need dips into these kind of levels here to hold for any further upside. You've just taken most of the liquidity. You've got a double top there. Still feel like there's more room to go higher, to be honest. But how low does it need to come first before it does it would be the question I would be posing right now. Is that last dip down and retest enough? Missed it by a little bit to go too much lower. I'm watching this build out here. So can it break here? Watching ES to see if it goes through the IBH. Watching Apple reclaim 220, 220.30 now, looking very, very good for that rotation higher. NinjaVate, yeah. Looking good here, guys. Looking good. Look, notice how the flow zones now have started opening up. What did I say? Flow zones above this lower time frame. Algo can really help you for that upside. But they made it tricky today. They chopped for ages. This was all building liquidity here, right? Building liquidity. They moved above it. They had to come deeper, build more liquidity, and then they got the go. Previous day high here, this red line. really should start accelerating if ES can get bids above the IBH. If Apple can move violently away from 220. I will say this. I say it every day on stream. Since this side of the year, Amazon relative strength. That thing. If this market goes bullish, you want to be buying that. 2.27% up on the day compared to everything else. Again, same thing over and over again. It needs to hold these levels. This is where the shorts got squeezed. So you would need resistance to become support. You need these shorts to become buyers in the market. Andrew, in inside days like this, maybe you've got to risk at least 30 points in these markets, unfortunately, and then I'll stop up fairly tight when it moves in the money for me. In days where I'm in trend days, thinking 60, 100, 200 points when I know I'm in a trend day, as in targets. But really targets wherever the liquidity is. Right now, we just took the liquidity. This guy. Yeah, took the liquidity, tapped into PDH, red line, finding some sell pressure there. And I'd be thinking about, if I want a continuation now, can it do something like this? Like buying this, risking this for a trade up here if it's really want to get going. And to be honest, I'm done. We're into lunch. Yeah, never mind scalping out on initial balance rotation days, especially if I'm buying something which has relative weakness. All right, if I'm buying something with relative weakness, you would have known. Like today, I think I tried buying here and maybe a small bit on here and then an add in here, and I was just taking profits on each move. But it doesn't look like a lot. But if I'm in from 55 and I'm adding for the break of 13 and I'm selling into that, that's 90 points from the original entry. It doesn't look like a huge move, but it is. So even with, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 micros, that adds up real quick. Really, really quick. I think that's going to be it for me, team. Caught a very, very small amount on that last push. So what does that mean? Put my total to 1.4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 565 plus 250. So someone can do the maths there. A decent day, whatever it is. Yeah, no worries, team. See you tomorrow. Those who are interested in doing the course, remember, there is a sale on now. It ends midnight tonight. There will not be another sale for a while. Okay, it's $100 sale. The code is Trump. All right, Trump at the checkout will get you $100 off the course. With the course, it's 20 hours on demand. You get these flow zone indicators as well as another indicator and lifetime access to the Discord. That sale ends at midnight. So don't come to the stream tomorrow asking me if it's still on sale and if you can buy it. That's it. Flash sale, and then we're out. I will see you same time tomorrow. Use hard stops. You have to use hard stops in this market. All right. Anyone who didn't use a hard stop last night, let's say you were bullish last night in the inauguration, somewhere around here, and you didn't have a hard stop in, you got liquidated. You got absolutely effing destroyed on this move. This is why I'm constantly saying use hard stops. You don't know what's going to happen. Right, you do not know what's going to happen, not just on Trump, on world factors, on Hamas right now, saying that, you know, they want some, originally there was a peace treaty. Now I read this morning that they want retaliation over a recent event. There's too many moving parts for you to sit here and think you can be arrogant enough not to put a stop in. I've heard so many podcasts recently talk about that. Terrible idea. Use hard stops, guys, all right? Big love. I will see you same time tomorrow. Let's call it 9:15, 9:20, 9:20, probably more realistic. Everyone else in the Discord, I will see you in there later on. We'll have a little chat about today. Peace and love. Be kind to each other. Take care.